Hello, hello, hello. Let's get this camera flipped over. Happy Thursday. We made it through Fat Tuesday. We made it to the new Lunar New Year. We made it, if you celebrate Ramadan, we made it to Ramadan, starting Ramadan. So anyways, busy week for a lot of people around the world. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to make our week 7 design, which is either a eyeglass holder or mask holder. And usually when I make mine, I kind of make them so you can quickly make them serve either purpose. So we're going to do that again today. And I'm going to, I don't know what I'm going to do. Hey, Janelda. So we'll do that real quick, and then I am going to make any announcements. I mean, there's nothing going on this week, so we'll be on our normal schedule on Sunday. Only thing we're competing with this week is the Olympics, I guess. But and I'm still enjoying watching curling. I watched the women's team win against Sweden this morning, so that was exciting. So looking forward to seeing them in the medal rounds. So I don't know if the men are going to make it, but anyways, I've enjoyed watching it, and I'll probably still watch even if our teams aren't playing, if they show it. It's just been kind of fun. All right, apparently I'm a little slow this morning. It was actually cloudy and rainy here this morning. The sun's coming out now, so it's starting to wake us up a little bit. But anyways, I guess no other announcements at the moment, so let me go ahead and flip the camera over and let's get started. Good morning, Karen. Thank you for joining us. Very strange, the delays on my where I'm watching my comments come in from. All right, so you'll see I have shamrocks on my desk here, but we learned to make shamrocks on Sunday. So if you bought too many hearts for Valentine's Day and you don't know what to do with them, you can make 4-leaf clovers. All right. So this one I did a little differently, and actually I think this one would be more of my preferred design. But anyway, so we have these nice pendants. Hey, Betty. So like I said, if you bought too many hearts and you don't know what to do with them, you can make shamrocks for St. Patty's Day. So, and that video is available on YouTube and still available on Facebook for the moment. So today we are going to make an eyeglass or mask holder. I'm going with the mask holder today, but I will show you how you can add the eyeglass things. We're going to use a hook clasp, and we're actually going to make our own hook clasps, okay? And we're going to use glass beads in our design. So what do I have? Get my, I'm going to use these, it's kind of a clear beige color glass beads in my design, okay? And then I have to use red. So for red, I am going to use some red, is this Crazy Horse? I don't know, it's a red jasper. So it's got red stone in it, so we're going to use that. These little stones are definitely just called red jasper. This other stuff, why am I am totally going blank. Oh, these others are Red Creek jasper, so I'm counting that as my red. And we also have to design something inspired by the Grand Canyon. And one of the beautiful things about the Grand Canyon it has that big variety of stone colors. So I thought this Red Creek jasper really showed the color schemes of the Grand Canyon. Hey, Marianica, you hope you're feeling good today. So, all right, and then I just have a couple other like spacers and stuff. So I thought we'd do some wire wrapping. I thought I'd use a little bit of chain, and I do have my pre-made glasses holders. You know, if you don't have these, but you have elastic or even just soft flex beading wire, you can make this using putting a crimp in the middle. So you can make one of these. I showed you guys how to do that before. So, all right, and so let's get started. So we're gonna do a little bit of wire wrapping today, and we're going to do a little bit of making our own clasp. So I think we'll make the clasp first, just to get those out of the way. So I have some 18 gauge wire. You can use something thinner, but you know, it just you don't want it to bend. So for clasps, I like to use 18 gauge. And I have like 3 inches here, which I really don't need the full 3 inches. It was just that I had it cut. So we're going to use that. All right. So I am just going to make a wrapped loop at one end. Now you could do an open loop if you wanted to, but it'll hold better with a wrap loop. So we are doing our, 90 degrees. And I am just gonna actually use my other pliers to hold that, because this is thick wire. So, I mean, that is one reason to consider just using a simple loop. So maybe on the other side we'll do a simple loop, okay? Or I could just do that now. Actually, we'll just do that now. We won't. We'll just skip that altogether, okay? So since I need to make 2, I need one for. Well, my plan is to use one for each side of my mask holder. So I could bend this, but I am going to just measure it, and then I am going to clip it in the middle. All right. So, and again, if you're using thicker wire, make sure you're using the right wire cutters. Most wire cutters should be able to go up to like 16 gauge, but unless they're really fine cutters, all right? So I have 2 little pieces of 1.5 inch wire, and I'm going to use my 6 size looper. And first thing I'm going to do is make the loop that goes on that'll attach to whatever I'm attaching it to, all right? So I'm just making a simple loop there. I'm going to bend my wire so it ends up being sort of like a eye pin, just because I like that angle a little better, all right? And now I'm just making a loop like an ear wire. So I'm going to use the second largest one. This doesn't need to be huge, so that's why I'm just going to loop that around. And actually, that's with my wire that I have out here, that's too big, so let's move it down one. And So we have sort of like a little tiny ear wire here. I actually was going to make a little tiny loop on here. Let's see if we can do that. We may still have to adjust our wire because it may be too short for what I had planned here. All right. So I've got 2 loops here. That'll probably work okay. All right. So it's something that sort of looks like an ear wire but has a loop on both sides. All right, and then I am going to put that on my little bench pin here. And I am going to hammer it because I don't want it to straighten out, you know, once we have stuff hanging on it. And once you do that, you know, if it opens up a little bit, there you can just, you know, use your pliers to close that up a little. All right, so let's make the other one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make the little one. I'm going to do this sort of backwards from that one. All right, I made the little loop, and then I'm going to make the other end, which I want it to roll towards the same wire from the same direction, okay? And notice I'm using my hand to bend the wire rather than using my wrist. If you use your wrist too much, you get sore wrists. All right, so I have something that looks just like that, right? And then I am going to stick my wire on here. So I want the opening to be on the opposite side of the wire than what I'm bending. So I'm going to bend this one around. And we end up with this kind of funny looking thing again. And you don't have to do the loop at the small loop if you don't want to. And you could, like I said, you could make it a closed loop. These are not pretty, but that's okay today. Huh? All right. All right, so there's our little holders there. So then we need to figure out how we're working in our plastic. Papers flying off my glass beads. I need to make sure I don't forget my glass beads. All right. So I like to, near the bottom, you know, near where my hooks are going to be, this is kind of like where I like to have my heavy duty, let's see if I can zoom in a little more. And I put some spacers out here just in case we needed something. All right, so since I'm going to wire wrap these rather than, I could do beading wire and connect it from here to my chain if I wanted to, you know, just have one long strip. But I think I'm going to do 2 little sections of two little sections of beads. I don't know. So let me yeah, let me double check that this will fit on the thicker wire. I may have to use the, it'll actually fit. All right, so we're gonna use our bronze soft flex, and let's put these beads on and see what it looks like. Okay. I am so zoomed in. All right. So that would be one little section. And then I'm just going to stick them on here just so we have them. All right. So I'm thinking like a spacer. We could do a small cube. What do you guys think? Any of those? Or does this need another? Maybe this needs another bead. Use your round bead. And I still got to remember to work my glass beads in there somewhere. Maybe we can. Put our glass beads on with this. Oh no, the glass beads don't fit on the 20 gauge. All right, so we'll have to use 22 gauge. I don't have, well, I shouldn't say I don't have. I can't find my bronze 22 gauge wire, so we're just gonna use gold. Okay, so we're ended up with some mixed metals here. I got gold tone. I've got these little tiny things in antique brass. All right. I don't know, what do you guys? It's not too bad. All right. All right. We're gonna just make a section here. All right. So it's I'm gonna zoom out just a bit so I can try to stay on the screen for y'all. All right, so this one I'm just going to go ahead and make a closed loop. It doesn't have to be big, but you don't want it so small that there's not movement, because then you'll end up with kinks that you're constantly fighting with. There's other pliers. There we go. All right, and I'm just gonna pull the end around because my fingers are too big to do this. All right. And then we're going to make a loop at the other end here. So. All right, we got that. I'm gonna trim it. All right, and this one I am going to connect to this. Now, since that's an open loop, I could connect to it by opening that, but I am just gonna go ahead and stick it on there. All right. And then I'm just gonna hold that while I wind my wire around. All right, let's trim that. And tuck that in. All right, so I've got one section here. So you see I connected it to the larger loop. And I'm just going to stick with the 22 gauge, even though I could use the 20 for this part, but I really like this Red Creek Jasper, although it's not, I mean, it's got so much variety of colors in it. It kind of goes from greens and grays, but there was a lot of red in my strand that I had, so. All right, so this side, I was gonna connect to my chain, which I haven't gotten out yet. But, so let's get our chain out so we can connect this end to the chain. Now, I haven't cut this chain or anything, so I had pulled this out earlier in the month with the thought of using it for some sort of a Valentine's Day. I got this from somebody on a closeout, but it is a little heart chain. All right, so I am just going to take one end of this and I'm going to connect it to my piece here. I'm going to finish closing my loop there. And as usual, Paul is piling up all the tools. So the ones I need are always on the bottom, right? And tuck that in. So these guys down here. Now I'm going to connect it to my other piece that I had. So I'll have to trim that so that I are just wrapping our wire, I am going to use my pliers so I can pull it a little tighter. Trim that, and let's tuck it. These super skinny needle nose pliers are like my favorites for tucking things in. I think that one needs more tucking. All right, so that's one half of our mask holder. Now I need to see how long I need to make this. All right. So based on me, I'm going to cut the chain about here. All right, so let me measure that just so you guys know how long I cut it. So 12. So I did about 24 inches of chain, just for reference there. And now we can build the other side to match. Now, if you wanted to, you could make them mismatched, or you could make it, you know, asymmetric, but I think I'm going to go with the same thing we did here. So if this end is going to hook to the chain, I'm going to basically build this top to bottom. So we need our spacer, we need our cube. I can't tell you how long I've had these jasper beads, but they have been in my possession for a long time. Yeah. Some of them I got from Dakota Stones, and some I think are from Fire Mountain. And I can't even tell you the last time I placed an order on Fire Mountain. Okay, so let's do our loop. I know, wire wrapping, it's fun, but it's not fun to watch necessarily because it gets so redundant. So again, I'm just sliding that link of my chain on there. And again, you kind of want to make this the loop so it's, you know, unless you're really wanting it to stand out, you want to make it kind of the same size as the links in your chain, so it'll just kind of blend in there. Okay. Now this one we can go ahead and make and close because we're going to make another loop to attach on there. And the nice thing about that is we can use our spool to wrap this, I don't have to use my pliers. And I have a lot less waste. Right. All right. So again, now we're going to build this one. Doesn't really matter. But I'm going to keep going down. So this would be the bottom part that we put on here first. So we've got our thin guy, our glass bead. Holes are not real thick in there. All right, now we'll have to see. I may want to switch beads out. This one is not drilled very well, which is really disappointing because, like I said, I did get this from a reliable vendor, but that one's a little more. Sometimes your beads are just drilled weird, you know. All right. So remember, we're trying to copy this. So we've got our red jasper, our glass bead, our cube, our rondelle, and our other red jasper. All right. And let's go ahead and make our wrapped loop. So we made our loop there. And we're just wrapping that around. Slide these guys down. Might still need to do a little tuck there. All right. And one more loop, yay. Thank you, Janelda. I think this is a nice neutral palette, but it does remind me of the Grand Canyon colors. You know, at certain times of day you go, it's very pink and red. Other times it's kind of purplish and grays. I remember when we went there, we went in the afternoon, and then we went back in the morning so we could see the colors. Now I could have just closed this loop. Yeah, maybe I will actually, because it'll be a little easier. All right, so let's grab on there. Let's do our wrap, which means we could have just done it off the spool, but we didn't. All right. And let's tuck those ends in. All right. So now, like I said, since we have an open loop on here, we can just take our pliers, bend a little, which we don't have to bend much since this is thin wire. And we're gonna stick that right on there. And then just like a jump ring, so I went sideways and now I'm, you know, twisting it back and forth until I get it as snug against that other edge as possible, because you don't want this to be able to slip out of there, right? All right, let's get these tools, my tool madness, out of the way. And look at what we have here. All right, so here we have a nice gold chain, and it goes great with these Red Creek Jaspers. And then we've got our little hooks there. Now, see, if you're using this as a clasp, you would have a loop, you know, that you would connect it. So you could just connect these two, right? If you wanted to make this a long necklace, you can add a pendant to the bottom if you want to wear this as a necklace instead of a mask holder. But with these loops, you know, I can just slide the straps on my mask on there. I know a lot of people don't wear masks anymore, but there were a lot of people wearing them at the gem show, which, you know, I don't fault anybody. I still wear them when I go to the doctors and stuff sometimes, just because, I don't know, I don't like sitting around a bunch of sick people. So I actually don't mind wearing them. And since I'll be traveling, I always carry them with me in case I get stuck around people that are coughing and hacking. So, you know, you want to kind of scoop these together as much as you can, and you may need to use your pliers. Okay, but that's how you would use it as a mask holder. And if you wanted to make this an eyeglass holder, you could just slide these on the loops too. And then your glasses slide right in there. I have a pair of glasses sitting here. You like it on the mask? I mean, I don't, you really use separate reading glasses and glasses, so, but I do have to sometimes carry my sunglasses, you know, so I might use the glasses holder as well. So see, that's how that goes on there. And those will hold on to those, right? All right. So here's our Grand Canyon inspired mask or sunglasses or glasses holder. And, you know, depending on what the ends of your glasses are like, you could even slide those onto your glasses. But anyways, so there we go. I am proud of myself for using my stones that I've had in my these are probably vintage stones, even though most stones are thousands of years old, but I've probably had them for more than 20 years, I'm sure. So all right, so that was fun. So, you know, our last well, it isn't our last project for February because we've still got another week. So we still managed to work in some hearts in our chain. We worked in our red because this is Red Creek Jasper. All right. We worked in our glass beads. And we worked in our hook clasp. Okay. Yeah. I'll put that on so you can see what it looks like. I love the turn. Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Karen. Yeah, I mean, like, mask holders, make it a little fun. And if you're worried about wearing jewelry with your mask, you know, it adds an earring. I guess it would go this way. So it looks like you're wearing earrings, which is why you have that little bit there. Yeah. But so just so you know, like the 24 inches of chain plus those two little sections, so it hangs down to right at my belly. So, all right, so that was our mask holder for today. So on Sunday we will be back and we will draw. We are flipping over our challenge deck. So everything's in play as of Sunday. And then I think we have one more week. Yes, we have one more week and we'll be flipping over our use pile as well. So everything's going to be back. Everything that we have in our stash can be used in our new, once we flip everything over. So that's all exciting. So, all right. Thanks once again for joining me. Just a reminder, so my sale has ended on the website, but if you're interested in anything, I will still honor my New Year's sale through the end of the month. So that's another week and a half. What is today? So that's 26% off one item, 30% off two items, and 35% off 3 or more items. Okay. And that applies to all our kits, all our bead mixes, and all of our cards. So if you've been thinking about ordering anything, now is a great time. We have our Heart Sun Catcher kits. And if you were needing any, Easter's going to be here before you know it. Just a reminder, I'm going to be out of town, so I am leaving early March, and I will not be back till the end of March. So I'm going to be gone for several weeks. Okay. So if you want to get anything ordered before Easter, I'm going to try to get it together. I found some really cool beads to make a very unique bunny, and I'm going to try to make up a prototype so that you guys can see them. So just a reminder, last year I did sell individual bunnies as well as bunny kits. Okay, if you order an individual bunny, it doesn't come with the directions unless you tell me you have to have it. But if you order the full kit, it has 3 different size bunnies. And I offer them in a variety of colors. So if you have any questions, if you just order one and you don't have any specifics, you'll get whatever combination that I have. And I do have some that have clear bodies, some that have blue bodies, and then I might have one left that has gold bodies. I think they have black ears. I'll have to double check. They might have purple ears and black ears. Different sizes have different ear colors. Okay. But anyways, I just reminded you all, you guys, if you're looking for more bunnies, I do have some available. And like I said, I will be having a limited edition bunny. I think, pretty sure it's my medium-sized bunny. And I'll have to see if I can work one out that's a smaller one too. But I will be working on that prototype so I can show you guys in case you're interested in ordering. So, because I think Easter's like, well, I mean, so we just kicked off Lent this week, right? So Easter is what, 4 weeks, 5 weeks? Is this the first week? I don't know. Anyways, if you're looking for any bunnies, let me know. And I will see you all on Sunday at noon. We will be flipping over the cards. We'll be drawing to see what we're going to make, and we'll make some sort of project yet to be determined, as it all depends on what I'm inspired to work with. And I'm trying to do some cleaning up and organizing since I, just came home from the gem show and then finished my inventory and all that. So it's time to play with some new things, right? All right. Hope you guys all have a great week. I'm sure I'll see you around on some of the other sites. And if you ever have any questions, just reach out. Let me know. I'd be happy to answer them, help you along, help you find something. If you're ever interested in anything I'm using, reach out because I may have extras. And, you know, I'm willing to sell a few beads here and there, you know, because I know sometimes you don't want to buy a whole strand of something. So, like I said, if you have questions, reach out. All right, I will see you all on Thursday at noon. And, you know, we're getting close to daylight savings time, so everything gets messed up again for our scheduling. But we will be on Mountain Time, at least for the next week and a half. So I will see you on Sunday. Bye.